I'll never forget the first time we met. Yeah, because it was sports, and I think it was Form 1. I was in Form 1, she's in Form 2. So they kept putting me in races that I shouldn't have been in. Like, I couldn't run. I mean, I did do track later on in life, but at the beginning I was terrible. And it'd be like 400, 800. I can't run. So, but Kadija was an athlete, right? So I guess I was running, and I was like running in other people's lanes, and that was just not going across with the other people well. Like, they were just not having it. She's like, move out my lane, move out my lane. I'm sorry, I can't run. I can't run. So like, I was a little scared of her for a little bit, but as we grew in school and we went to the same lessons and stuff, things got better.
Hey, our aviation enthusiasts and health fanatics. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the AviDoct podcast. I'm LaSalle Jacobs, your aviation professional navigating the skies.
And I'm Kadija Jacobs, your friendly neighborhood doctor, here to keep you grounded, entertained, and healthy.
Listen, whether you're soaring through the clouds
or even seeking tips for a healthier lifestyle,
you're in the right place.
Jinx. Together, we'll explore the intersection of aviation and healthcare, bringing you fascinating insights, expert interviews, and a touch of our own life adventures.
So, fasten your seatbelts
and grab your stethoscopes
because it's time for the AviDoc podcast to take flight. Stat.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of our AviDoc podcast. And today I am so honored to have a special guest with us today. LaSalle took a backseat today because it's time for the doctors, the DOCT part of AviDoct. We put the AVI aside today. So we're going to have our very own Guyanese born and bred Miss Chaukim Peters. What's your middle name, Chaukim?
Mulsha.
I was going to say Chaukim Mulsha Peters, but then I'm like, maybe that's just an Instagram handle, but it's actually Mulsha.
Actually, Mulsha.
What Mulsha mean?
So, I've been told, that Mulsha means purity.
Okay.
So.
All right, so Chaukim Purity Peters.
Can you imagine? Firstborn Purity Peters.
Okay, there we go. All right, so Chaukim, I've known Chaukim for many, many years. We actually went to Bishop's High School together, and then coincidentally, we were on the same path. She is studying to be a medical doctor, but I'm not going to talk much on her. I'll let her do the talking on herself. So Chaukim, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? How we met? I know we have a little bit stories of our first time meeting and interacting in high school. It wasn't the best, but here we are today.
All
right,
and that's what matters. Well, Chaukim, 20. How old am I? 26. Honestly, I always forget my name, my age. But 27. Currently studying at St. George's University to be a doctor, like my dear friend. Grew up in Guyana. Well, for the most part, I grew up there for about 16 years. Then I moved to New York, where I've been doing most of my studies and stuff. But always go back, always visit Guyana, always will love Guyana. Honestly, America's take the back seat, I think. Always Guyanese first. So met Kadija at Bishop's High. I'll never forget the first time we met. Yeah, because it was sports, and I think it was Form 1. I was in Form 1, she's in Form 2. So they kept putting me in races that I shouldn't have been in. Like, I couldn't run. I mean, I did do track later on in life, but at the beginning I was terrible. And it'd be like 400, 800. I can't run. So, but Kadija was an athlete, right? So I guess I was running, and I was like running in other people's lanes, and that was just not going across with the other people well. Like, they were just not having it. She's like, move out my lane, move out my lane. I'm sorry, I can't run. I can't run. So like, I was a little scared of her for a little bit, but you know, as we grew in school and we went to the same lessons and stuff, things got better. And I'll never forget when we used to go to the same biology lessons, and she was wearing these earrings, and I was like, oh my God, I really like your earrings. And she took them off right there and then and gave it to me. And I still have, so I lost one, but I still have those earrings. That's over like, what, 15 years?
Yes, that's a long time.
Yeah, because we were in school at the time. So about to be like 15 years, and I still have them.
Wow, I didn't even remember that story, but no, I think it was like a rectangle one with leopard. Yeah. Okay,
Still
I know
have
exactly.
I used to wear them a lot too.
Oh,
Yeah, I feel
so
like gifts are so
sweet.
precious. You should keep them.
Oh wow.
So I always keep them.
Oh, that's such a good story, Swakim. I didn't even remember that, but
See,
yeah,
it's good and bad.
it balanced out well.
Yeah.
I know that at times I can come across very intimidating, especially in high school, where I think I had a very dominant personality, and you know, I didn't mean anything. I was just like trying to win the race, which I pretty much think I did.
Yeah, you did. I think you either like was first or second.
Yeah,
but
probably.
like they finished the race, yeah, and I was still running. I stopped running at one point and I just start walking.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't
race
matter.
done.
The race done. With or without you.
Not one place, last place.
Oh my. All right, Swakim. So we're gonna get straight in. As we know, Avidoc Podcast, we are on a flight. And today I anticipate a smooth flight. Hopefully it takes us to destination Grenada, because I know that majority of your studies have been in Grenada. And unlike last week, we had a very terrible we had a very terrible
rocky.
But we got over it. So I am excited to see where we end today. So my question to you, why medicine? I know our culture as Guyanese and as Caribbean people altogether, sometimes there could be this pressure: if you're not a lawyer, a doctor, or engineer, you're not much worth to your country and your people.
That's true.
So why medicine, Swakim?
So like what you were saying with, like, you know, in our culture, they always like push you to be doctors. I wouldn't say that was my experience. Ever since I was in primary school, I always loved science. And I think it worked out for me, but like in my mind, because I liked science, immediately thought, okay, doctor. But I think I just always loved learning science. I felt like it became easy to me. It was something that I didn't need to study as much as like other things. So it just always came easily. And I think as I grew, there's just a lot of things in my life that aligned with medicine and with me becoming a doctor. And I remember in primary school, I got very close to one of my teachers, and she got pregnant. And like we didn't go with her on, like, you know, her appointments and stuff, but she would always make it her like a point to tell us about all her doctor appointments and things that the doctor would look for. And like I just fell in love with pregnancy and women's health after that. So I just kept pursuing it. At one point I did become scared that, okay, maybe I'm just doing this because it's something I should do, because I always like science. I'm in science stream.
Yeah.
I used to feel that way, but it ended up just being something I genuinely love. Like even when I became, both of us worked at City MD for a while as scribes.
Yeah.
It just felt right. I love learning. I love how it feels when you're in medicine. Like seeing the smile on people's faces. Like they not everyone, but a lot of people are so appreciative of what you do. And it just makes me feel happy. Like I like the rush of like running all over the hospital. Like yes, it's stressful, but you feel so like so important, you know?
It's a big part of like self gratification.
Yes, and it just feels really good. And I like how everything connects. The body is so phenomenal. I feel like people in medicine understand like the things that our bodies do and how it can like recover, and you know, it has all these alert systems to see when something is wrong,
and it can heal itself.
It's just so beautiful. Like
yes, it is.
I think God really designed us perfectly, and I think being in medicine, we get to like, I think of it as like serving God in another way by serving others.
It's service.
So it feels really good when you do it. It's very fun, stressful, but I think it's a really rewarding thing.
Yeah, a very good. It is a rewarding experience, and I like to tell myself and people that the journey is the reward. It's not something like, when I reach the end of the rainbow, you get a pot of gold. So you have to go through all of this to get a reward. I feel like as you do it, you feel rewarded. You feel gratified and satisfied with everything you do. Do you think, however, that if you were exposed, well, this is me assuming you weren't, were you exposed to other careers growing up? I don't want to assume that, being a doctor, medicine was the only thing you were privy to. Were you exposed to other careers? And if you were, do you think that when you put all of them together then and now, you still would have chosen medicine?
I think yes. Short answer is yes. I would have always chose medicine.
But were you
exposed? The only thing I was really exposed to was nursing, because a lot of my family members are nurses. My problem with nursing, though, I want to be my own boss at some point.
Okay.
So I think that was my issue.
You could be a charge nurse.
I could, but you still have to answer. And not that doctors don't have to answer to someone, but I could go out and have my own practice and do my own thing. So I think that was my issue. And so it's just that. And I think like in school, for the most part, we are in science stream. We do like a little bit of microbiology. You do a little bit of this, you do a little bit of that. But it just never, like, I don't care
quite
about
as
plans.
intriguing.
In college, I did like ecology.
Yeah.
No offense to the ecology people, yeah. No
It's
offense,
wrong,
but like it didn't feel right to me. And I think it's important when you're in college to explore. If you weren't exposed to it before, but when I was in college, I did all these other work. Like I did environmental science and animal science, yeah. I still don't know nothing. I can't say what the ducks do. I can't do the birds do. It was just not for me. But so like medicine would have always been, I guess, the field of science. I was always drawn to the others, and I tried. I genuinely tried, but
Well, my son could tell you what the ducks do and what the birds do, because Mr. Rachel definitely tells him that them ducks says quack, quack, quack,
and
quack.
that's all I know. I'm at the same level as right there. Same level.
Oh my God. Okay, so that's okay. Medicine will always be the answer, and being in it, I understand why. But you have had a little journey as you prepared to be where you are today. I know you had to do MCAT and stuff like that. Could you give me a synopsis of how it started and how you reached where you are today? Yeah. I think you're in third year.
Finishing up third year now.
Okay, yeah. So give me just a briefly how.
Okay, so after college, you have to finish your 4 years of undergrad. I think that's like standard anywhere you are. And then, so with me, I finished undergrad. I did not take the MCATs in undergrad. I took it after. I knew I needed a break from studies a little bit. So the MCATs is like it's a standardized test that all medical students take, or most medical students. You don't always have to take it to get into medical school in America. However, my experience with that was just not. I'm not a standardized test taker. I'm just not. I am a content, and I'm gonna read my content, I'm gonna understand my content, and I can apply it. With standardized tests, it's like a lot of tricks, and my brain doesn't work like that. Even in college, like I can't take shortcuts. I have to do everything to see the entire process, and I don't feel like standardized tests are conducive to people who think like that. Yeah. So I never did well. I think the first time I took it, I got a 492, which is not great. And then I studied for about 2 months.
What would be the aim?
The aim, so I think the aim was a 520. I don't know if it changed now, because after I got into med school, the MCATs was so far behind me, y'all. I left it there. But I think at my time, it was either 420 or 425, 520, sorry, or a 525. And I got a 492. In most people's heads, that's like okay, but it's not.
For medical school, it's
not. You have to be over 500. And even with a 500, your chances are not as high. So I got a 492 the first time, and the second time I got a 496. And I remember after getting the grade the second time, I was just like, well, I'm gonna be a doctor anyway. It stopped bothering me. So I was like, whatever. So after that, I still went ahead and I applied applications. There's primary and secondaries. So you would send in to like a larger amount primaries, and then I guess secondaries, based on who responds to you, you'll send in secondaries. So you do your application process. And while I was doing that, I did apply to 2 Caribbean medical schools. It was St. George's and American University in Antigua, I believe that's AUA. They go by that. So I did that. And then after that, it was interview seasons. And I only got interviews with those 2, the 2 medical schools.
So no American medical school approached you.
One.
Wow.
I remember I really wanted to go to Howard, and they didn't even respond to me until literally I am in Grenada, moved in, classes start. Hey, sorry, we can't take you.
Oh wow! Thanks for telling me now.
No, school already started. I'm not supposed to do this piece of information. So there was that. So you apply, you get in, and then medical school. We have 2 years of didactics, which we do down in Grenada. And then after that, we come up to the States and we would do clinical years. So right now I'm in my 3rd year, finishing up. I have 1 rotation left in my 3rd year. That's psych.
And is this for everyone, or is this just because you are a U.S. citizen now? Or let's just say a regular Grenadian was going to SGU. Do they have the same connections or the same opportunity to come to the U.S. and do those rotations in U.S. hospitals?
Yes.
Okay.
So even it doesn't matter where in the world you are from. Once you're going to Grenada, to SGU. SGU is a American medical school that's in the Caribbean.
Okay.
It's still considered international, however.
Okay.
Anybody can apply. It doesn't matter where you're from, as long as you could get like maybe a scholarship or you can afford it, because it's quite expensive. I tried to scratch my ears. I'm sorry. Sorry, trying to scratch my ears. Again, looking for a piece. Okay. Yes, if you are from Grenada, you can also come to the States. So SGU is a American medical school in the Caribbean. It's still considered an international medical school, so anyone can apply. And once you get in there, you do the first 2 years of didactics, and then, which is like bookwork, classroom work, standard tests. And then the following 2 years, you can either come to the US to do rotations, or you can do, I think, rotations in the UK. So it depends. However, if you do want to do rotations in the US, you have to do step 1. It's standard.
Okay.
You know? So that's how it is. Anyone can apply and go.
Okay. I know, well, we have been talking about how different it is for you because, of course, you know, you didn't get to a U.S. medical school via the standardized test, sorry. But tell me how different it is being an immigrant here versus being a Native American. Do you think that had anything to do with your prospects of being a medical student here in the United States? And answer that question for me, and then I'll ask my next.
I would say maybe not necessarily, because I still got citizenship here. So that kind of like evens the playing field for me versus, you know, someone who's born here and stuff like that. I don't think that was necessarily my issue. It was more that test. Like, I could not. My grades were fine. You know, my recommendations were fine. Everything else but the MCATs. I just couldn't get over that hurdle. And I just found another way. So I don't think necessarily, you know, being an immigrant impacted that.
Okay.
I would hope it didn't.
Yeah,
I would hope,
understood.
yeah.
We just needed to get that out there because sometimes people run away with the wrong information that because I'm arrogant, I'm starting to disadvantage and stuff like that. But speaking of disadvantage, because you studied in the Caribbean, you're considered an international medical graduate. Could you give me, let's just say like 3 disadvantages of being an international medical graduate?
Yeah, so this is something, I have been battling with for a while, because a lot of times people, it's a reality that we have to face, and people act like it doesn't exist, but it does. So like right now, I'll be applying for medical school, for residency in a couple of months. And being an international medical student, we call it IMGs for short. If you hear me saying IMGs, I'm referring to that. Being an IMG can be very challenging because a lot of these programs, whether they want to admit it or not, they do expect more from us. So it's very stressful because you put this enormous pressure on yourself because you have to stand out. A lot of programs, even they're cut off for certain programs, for example, like surgery. If you look at the scores that American medical students have to achieve versus an IMG, IMGs are higher. Yeah. Which in my head is still a bit confusing because
if we have a standard, let's just all have this level playing field. Okay, surgery you need 255. What's the highest? 280 is the highest. Okay, to start surgery, to be qualified to be in surgery, you need 255. Then it means if you get 255 and I get 255, we both, because it's the same test we're writing. It's the same step 1 we're writing. So why is that? Why is there a disparity in the choices? And okay, that is a big disadvantage indeed that I am also aware of.
It's been really stressful because it's like, how do you
navigate through something like that? Yeah, it's unfair.
It is but it's something that I think we all go in knowing, and we have like this. I think why I really admire IMG students, it makes you more resilient. So like, it's like a battery in your back. I gotta do better than these people. So we keep doing that. So I'll do that. I think another disadvantage is literally having to leave your family in one country and going to another one.
Yes.
I think for me personally, it wasn't that crazy because Grenada is very similar to Guyana, so it felt like I was home. Yeah. It wasn't a big culture shock. Yes. I understood what people were saying. I understood how to catch bus. People don't know how to do these things. Food, Yeah. So it was very, not as a big transition for myself, but I know for other people who never lived away from their family. Life. Yes, experience that they don't know how to navigate that. So that's a disadvantage. I mean, it could be one for American medical students too, because sometimes people have to go out of state to do that. But like having to learn an entire country's culture and traditions and stuff like that, it can be a little shaky for some people. So that's another disadvantage / advantage sometimes, because you learn a lot.
You do. Okay, that's nice, and I understand and I agree with you. I'm gonna go back to the disparity because it's just so unsettling. We know quite a few IMGs who are so brilliant. They're excellent. Like somebody would say, excellent over magnificent. And they can't apply to their dream match, like dermatology and neurosurgery and stuff like that. They just can't because they're never gonna. And the statistics shows year after year after year that IMGs don't match to these programs no matter what. And I think that something needs to be done. I don't know where it starts, but I think something needs to be done. And if we're saying we're doing standardized testing, then leave it as standardized tests for everyone, not just exclusively for the Americans or so. Anyway, America is for Americans.
I agree. I agree.
All right,
Yeah.
but we're doing well so far. We've touched on quite a few things that I think is important. What I would want to ask you is, typically, I don't want to ask, okay, I don't like asking tips and secrets and and those kind of things, because they're very subjective. But I'm going to ask for you, what kept you going through? I know you have your love for medicine, but what are some of the things that kept you going? What helped you to overcome some challenges in medical school? For me, I'm going to say it was my friends. I experienced the death of my mother while I was in the middle of medical school. I remember burying her, and a week or 2 weeks after, I had to go head into exams and stuff like that. And I really had some strong people. At that time, they weren't my real friends, but there was this one girl reached out to me who became my closest friend in medical school after. And she was like, we have study group, whatever. I'm inviting you to come. And then gradually, I built relationship, and that took me through medical school. So I could fairly say that some of my best days in my entire life was in medical school. It's not just books. We have some fun too.
Yes,
so
we do.
what are some of the things that took you through medical school?
So-
Or I should say it's taking you through.
Yeah, 'cause I'm still
you're
here.
not like
Still here. Can you believe it, man? It
Yes.
feels like forever.
Yeah.
I'll agree. I think faith, family, friends. I think the 3 F's,
F off. Yeah, F it up.
I'm telling you, 3 big F's. Like, it really does. Because my friends, honestly, the friends that you make in medical school, it's a different type of bonding.
Yeah, it's
That trauma bond. It's so real. I'll never forget the first term. I was struggling because, not struggling like failing, but struggling to keep going, because usually, a semester would be like a couple of weeks. Med school semesters be so long, like,
They
and
don't
I
end.
didn't anticipate that. So like by the last exam, I give up. I cried every day. I was like, oh my God. And to make matters worse, my family was back in Guyana for my cousin's wedding and I couldn't go. So I was just, was over it. I remember my friend, it's just such a simple thing she did. She went down and she went to the vending machine and she got all my favorite snacks. And she brought it upstairs and she gave me a big hug and she's like, here, I bought these for you. Nothing crazy, but it's just that somebody saw that you were struggling and they did that for you, And I think the friends that you make, they understand you on a different level.
Yes.
We've had a lot of our friends whose parents, grandparents passed away while we were in medical school, and they'll drop everything and they'll show up. They'll cook for you. They'll bring food to your house. Like, it's different. And when you're seeing or you're feeling that love on a constant basis, it really does help you. You cannot make it through medical school without
alone.
Without a good friend group. You can't. You can't, because like, you don't want people with a lot of drama. It's hard to have to be going through and you gotta like fight with this person or this person being catty. So it's hard. So you need a solid friend
Support,
group. Yeah, people that you
support
can pray
group.
with, people that you can laugh with, people that you can go out with, because sometimes you want to study and sometimes you don't need to study every day. You really don't. You need a balance, and they'll drag you out.
Yeah.
So you need those people. I'd say family as well, because you need your family.
Yes,
You need
you do.
the financial support, you need the prayer support, people who will check in on you. They'll make sure you're okay. If you have health issues, they'll reach out. They'll make sure everything is good. So you need that support system, and your friends eventually become like family, because they're there for like sometimes the worst moments of your life in medical school.
And you actually spend most of your time with your friends, your schoolmates, and so on, more than you do with your family.
And sometimes family kind of like, they get offended with that.
Yeah,
but it's the truth. You really do. You wake up, sleep, eat everything with these people, in class with them. So there's that. And faith. because faith and therapy, I think every medical student should go to therapy. I think it's
everybody should go to therapy.
but I think we really need it. We
Yeah.
really do, because I remember there was this time in the second term where I was so hard on myself. Like, grades meant everything to me. So if I performed like 1 point below where my goal was, crying, spitting, throwing up, like nostril, it was just terrible. It was terrible. Not nostrils, we just call it like snot. Snot coming down. So like I had to start going to church more. I had to start praying more. I had to start therapy because I wasn't being kind to myself.
Yeah.
And you cannot be in medical school. You can't be in higher education, period. It doesn't have to be medical school, law school, whatever grad school. You cannot be there and be so hard on yourself.
Yes.
Because you're a human. Life does not stop. People are going to die. You're going to get sick. People are going to get sick that you need to take care of. You can't be so hard on yourself forgetting that you're human.
Yeah.
So you need that. Just have somebody to talk to. Hey, I'm not feeling so good today. I didn't do so great on this exam. And they'll help you walk through your emotions. Why do you feel this way? Why are you so hard on yourself? What was it about the exam that you found difficult? You need those people. So I think those things, therapy, honestly, I don't think I would have been as successful as I was in medical school if it wasn't for therapy. I know, man. But
my man.
but definitely therapy. So I think that's important.
Okay, thank you for that. The 3 F's. I'm gonna remember that. So what's next for Chaukim Peters?
All right, so I got a couple of things. So I'm finishing up 3rd year. I have one more psych rotation. Kind of excited, kind of not. But everything is a learning experience. And then after that, we have step 2, the big step 2. Step 2 is the exam where you'll score, and then it will determine what you can apply to.
Okay.
Like Kadija was talking about, maybe you could score 255, which is a pretty good score, by the way, for surgery, if you're applying surgery. So I'm going to write that. And then after that, I head into 4th year where we do all of our electives, all the fun things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm currently working on a project nonprofit organization with my friend and classmate Tanesia Mitchell. It's called...
Big up Tanesia.
She is also Guyanese. So Guyanese are doing very big things.
Nice.
It's called Power of the Period. We're raising funds to supply tampons and pads, so sanitary napkins and so on for homeless women. And eventually we want to move to sending some of these things back to Guyana, because we'll always give back to where we come from. We'd be nothing if it wasn't for Guyana. And the experience
and I know,
is there.
Sorry for cutting you, but I know First Lady has a project similar to that.
Yeah.
So maybe eventually you guys could collaborate.
Yeah, that would be really nice. Actually, I have a little book, y'all, that I write all my goals. And one of the things that I really want to do is collaborate with the government to help, like maybe high schools, go to high schools and educate, or maybe churches, whatever we can do. But it's one of the things I really want to do.
You remember Johnson & Johnson used to come to Bishops and do those little giveaways and teach us about... I remember this would always be with me. The lady asks, so what are your hormones? And everybody jump up. Hormones is your feelings, your feelings. And then she was like, no, hormones are chemical messengers. And I think like since then that has stuck in my brain. Like every time I'm reading about hormones, like PTH and all these hormones, I'm like, it's not feelings. It really is
innocent
chemical messengers. All right, Chaukim, we have been having such a great time. I promised our viewers, our listeners, that we're not gonna bore them, so we keep it short and sweet.
Like it like that, yep.
Short and sweet. So we're approaching our landing. I'm gonna say that we've toured a bit of Grenada, and we even toured the US. Yes, we're right here live in Houston, but we're gonna prepare for our cheers moment. For those of you who don't know, our cheers moment is something special that we would have taken away from our conversation we've been having today. Do you want me to give you a chance to have your cheese moment first, or I'm gonna do it?
I can go first.
All right, but before you go, our cheers moment is gonna be with none other than, well, we're two Guyanese girls, okay? Hello. And it's gonna be with none other than some good old El Dorado 12-year rum from Guyana. We make it a duty every time we're coming to our second home from Guyana. We stock up on our liquor and stuff like that. One of it is our 12-year-old. We have like many bottles. Not that we're drunkards or anything, but hey, we always like to have.
You just have to put that disclaimer in there, y'all.
Yeah. Just so they know. But we always like having stocks. So today we're gonna cheers to some 12-year-old rum. So yeah, what's your cheers moment of our episode today?
I can say thinking about failure and how, because I just will never get over the MCATs, like how traumatic it was, how crazy it was. But knowing, I think you have to have something in yourself where you know that even if I fail 1,000 times, this is my goal. Still being realistic with yourself, but still being like, this is my goal and I'm going to get to it. I remember, like I was telling you, I opened the results and I saw the score. And I was like, I'm still gonna be a doctor. This wouldn't be my, my end point. It's just something else I have to get over. And, there's been a lot of failures in med school. There's been a lot of things that I wanted to achieve and I didn't achieve. And you just keep going because whatever is already ordained in your life is gonna happen. So you have to keep pushing, have to keep going, be kind on yourself because it's gonna be hard. Failure is not fun. Nobody's gonna ever be like, oh my God, I failed. Nobody does that. I failed. I'm so happy. But, feel your feelings and pick it up and go again. You have to, because you have to think about the people in the future that need you and only the things that you can give to them, so you have to remember that.
Oh, that's so sweet. We were there with another F. This one is failure. There's a song, fail is not your future. God is. Yeah, so we're gonna cheers to that. Failure is not your future. Right?
Oh, this is good. El Dorado did they thing? Was it Bond BIH, right?
No, El Dorado's DDL.
DDL,
yeah,
did they
please
thing?
get it right. Tell shit, get it right. Get it right. All right, so my cheers moment is going to be, let's F shit up. F it up. Family, friends, and faith. This is something you mentioned, and I think I agree with it, and it resonates so well with me. Friends, family, faith, important. Let's F shit up.
Super important.
And then failure. 4 Fs.
It's really gonna be life. Everywhere you go, that's what life is gonna be like.
All right, so we're gonna cheers to the 4 Fs. You said failure, and I'm gonna say faith, family, and friends. So cheers to that. This is so smooth, guys. You need to try it. So, all right. So we have landed.
Yeah.
It was a smooth one, but
Gotta give the claps like the Caribbean people when they.
Why do they do that? That's embarrassing.
I don't know. It's like, can we please get off this plane?
Yeah, like, come on. The guy did his job. That's what he does, Like, thank God we land safe, but keep the claps. We have landed safely. It was a smooth flight. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, Chaukim. Thank you so much for visiting LaSalle and Lakai in Houston, Texas. We have really had such a great time having you here. Despite I am very busy with work. I work at the hospital. It's like an hour away going, an hour away coming.
Yeah.
So we haven't had much time to do the big fancy crazy stuff. And then, of course,
But we
Lakai
have you
doesn't have
now.
us. But it was so great having you. And I love you so much.
See,
Yeah.
I'm actually
sad.
really sad that I have to go home tomorrow. I was like getting ready. It's like, damn, I have to go home tomorrow. Like, I genuinely love being here with you guys.
Yes.
Amazing. Y'all, Lakai has my heart. He has my heart.
Lakai
He's so
has
sweet.
many hearts.
So sweet.
And I love the bond that I saw between you guys, the connection. It was so warming to see.
So
But
sweet.
nevertheless, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast. I mean, like, we just told Chaukim, like, hey, do you want to do something? You know, like, let's just take out the Avi from the Avi doc today.
Just for one night.
Let's just do the doctors today. And she was like, yeah, sure, you know, and that's what's up. That's cool. So guys, thank you for listening. Before we leave, I just want to remind you of our handles. Mine is it Dr. Imogen? Yeah. Dr. Imogen on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. Follow the podcast, Avi Dog Podcast on Instagram. And so I can give us your handles.
So I have like 3. However, if you want to follow me personally, it's _Mulsha, MULSHA. And then my professional page is Becoming Dr. Peters. And then our Power of the Period page is literally Power of the Period. So you can follow any one of those. Yeah.
All right. And if you have any suggestions or anything, be sure to email the avidocpodcast@gmail.com. That's avidoctpodcast@gmail.com. But until further notice, thank you guys for listening. We've had such a great time. Bye.